So I want you to imagine that you just caught a whitewater wave and you were able to successfully stand to your feet. So now you're standing on the surfboard and you want to be able to speed up. How are we going to achieve that? So we're going to go into our surf stance, nice and low, right? If we want to speed up, we need to put more weight towards the nose of the board. The nose of the board is your gas pedal, right? So we're going to have our arms out over the rails. We're in a nice position. My chest, knees, and toes are all on the same plane. I'm aligned. In order to send more weight towards the nose, I'm just going to shift my hips forward, right? So I'm going to shift forward. Maybe I'll reach my lead arm out in the direction I want to go. But the reason we're shifting our hips is so that we prevent ourselves from leaning over. This is a tendency that I see in a lot of beginner surfers. In order to speed up, they really want to lean, but now we're breaking that plane of our chest, knees, and toes, right? So we sink low, we shift our hips, and then we're able to guide our board forward and accelerate. So what will happen often when we're surfing whitewater waves is that initial jolt from the wave hitting the back of your board will shoot you forward out in front of the wave, so you're not maintaining contact with that wall. So sometimes what we'll have to do is slow down in order to let that wall catch back up to us, but not give us another jolt again, right? So that's why slowing down is important. Also, we're going to want to be able to slow down when we need to stop the board, okay? So important aspect of board control is slowing down. Slowing down is the exact opposite of speeding up. So it's still a shift in the hips. We're not leaning back or anything like that, right? So same position, arms over the rails, I'm nice and low, I have my chest, knees, and toes, and I just shift my hips backwards. Maybe I'll retract my elbows back as well, pulling my arms back. The nose will start to lift up a little bit, okay? That's my cue to know that I have enough weight over the brakes, which is the tail of the board, right? So I shift back, I retract back. I'm not leaning backwards or anything like this. This is an off-balance position. I'm nice, athletic surf stance, and I'm shifting my weight back, nose comes up, and I slow down. So the reason we discussed speeding up and slowing down before talking about turning is because that movement, that shift in your hips becomes very important when we want to turn our board to the front side or towards the back side. So when I say these terms, front side or back side, I'm talking about the direction you're facing when you're surfing a wave, right? As we know, waves break laterally, right? So if the beach runs this way, the waves are also going to break right and left. They don't just break going straight towards the beach. So we need to be able to turn to the right and the left in order to stay on the face, the green unbroken part of the wave for as long as we can. So we can work on this in the white water first before moving out to green waves. So let's go over front side and back side waves. So let's start by talking about front side turns. So for me, a front side turn, because I'm a regular footer, is going to be a wave that breaks to the right. For a goofy footer, a front side turn would be on a wave that is breaking to the left, okay? So the reason I have a broomstick in my hand is because here at Bodie, when we're teaching our surf lessons, we like to use the analogy of holding a broomstick to help our guests visualize their turns, okay? So in order to initiate a front side turn, which for me is a right, I first need to sink low in my legs. I'm going to shift my hips back, just like we just worked on in the slowing down drill. Okay, so shift my hips back. What that does is send more weight towards the tail so that when I turn, I'm turning off my fins and my back rails. Okay, the reason I want to avoid turning off my front rails is so that the board doesn't flip. If you have too much weight forward and you try and initiate a turn, you're probably just going to get stuck, nothing's going to happen, and so that front rail engages and you flip the board. So that's why we focus on trimming turns, meaning we're turning off our back rails by sending weight over the tail. Okay, from here, once I've retracted my arms, I'm going to begin to shift them in the direction I want to go, which is to my front side. Okay, so I rotate my hips. My chest rotates as well. I'm pointing in the direction I want to go, And now the board is going to start to rotate as well, off the fins and off our back front side rail. Okay, so once I make that initial turn and start going that direction, let's say a 45 degree angle off center, okay, then I need to straighten back out again. I don't want to hold this turn because I'll turn myself out of the wave completely. So retract back, rotate the broom in the direction I want to go, and then once I'm here, I've made my turn, I need to then shift forward so I speed back up again and straighten out and stop turning. Okay, so shift back, rotate the broomstick, shift forward in the new direction I'm heading in. That is how we accomplish a front side turn. So initiating a backside turn is a little bit trickier because our chest and our vision is not naturally facing that way, okay? So again, the setup is the same for this turn. The only difference is that the chin to the shoulder initiates a backside turn, all right? So I'm gonna hold my broomstick out in front of me. My arms are over the rails. Toe is slightly open. I'm in my nice athletic surf stance. I'm nice and low, okay? So I wanna turn to the left to my back side. The first thing I need to do after I shift my hips back is take my chin to my shoulder, okay? I'm never gonna be able to achieve this turn if my head doesn't turn. If I'm looking straight forward or just kind of looking out of the corner of my eye in that direction, nothing's gonna happen. When you try and rotate the board, you're probably gonna fall forward in the direction you're looking, right? So this is a very important thing to understand when you're surfing, is that wherever your head goes, wherever you look, is going to initiate that turn where you ultimately wanna end up going, okay? So retract the arms, right? I'm shifting my weight back, the nose lifts up, head to shoulder, I open up that broomstick, okay? Rotate in the hips. I have a line that runs through the top of my head, through my chest, all the way down to the board, and I'm just rotating around that axis, okay? So nice and low, chin to shoulder, rotate, and then once I make that turn 45 degrees off center, then I need to lean back forward again to speed up. That's how I'm gonna accomplish this backside turn. So our Bodhi emphasis for this lesson is always on staying low and keeping our center of gravity, most of our weight in between our feet and our knees, right? We want to try and avoid leaning at all costs, because when we lean, we break that nice plane between our chest, knees, and toes. Okay, so if we're leaning forward, if we're leaning back, if we're leaning over our front side rail, or over our backside rail, we're not in a good position of balance, and it's highly likely that we're going to fall and the ride will be over. So anytime I make a turn, or if I speed up or slow down, the first thing I always do is sink nice and low, keep my center of gravity from my head to my belly button all the way down to the board, okay, in between my knees and my feet. And then there's a lot I can accomplish from here because I'm in a nice balanced position. So trying to avoid sending too much weight over the rails, because that causes the board to flip, right? So everything is low and rotational. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you learned something new from it that's going to benefit you in your learn to surf journey. If you did find value in this video, please give us a like, maybe even subscribe to our channel. We're going to be producing a series of these Learn to Surf videos by Bodhi. Thanks for tuning in.